Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today's job is to make a new one of these. So this is a turbo guard off a tractor puller. So the tractor that this is off competes in the British Championship, and there's all sorts of different safety rules that you've got to comply with to be able to pull in the championship. And one of the safety rules is your turbo has to be guarded all the way around. So this was the original guard, but apparently it's 40mm too short all the way around on the bottom. So he wants it, it might not pass the scrutineering next time, so he wants me to make a new one that's 40mm deeper and 15mm wider that way as well. But this one's had all sorts of bits added onto it that it doesn't need anymore, doesn't need that bit anymore. That must have been a different turbo that it had on with a wastegate or something. This is different. Yeah, and then he's added a few bits of tape on where it needs to be more or tighter around whatever fits out through here. So rather than add bits onto that and chop it and what have you, he just wants a new one making, be tidier job. So I've been to get some steel this morning, but rather than waiting for them to deliver it, yeah, I went for it, but it wouldn't fit in the back of my pickup. So I took my little plasma with me. I got a new little Jasic plasma cutter that comes with its own compressor underneath it, so that's pretty handy. So you just plug it in, we run off a 16 amp single phase, it's 45 amp plasma, and then yeah, it comes with its own little compressor. So all you need is a socket. I've got it onto a 32 amp, but you can run it off a 16 amp. It seems a nice little thing. I've used it a couple of times now. It'd be handy for mobile jobs. Rather than having to take a compressor with me, I can just take that. So yeah, I just cut the end off that so it'd fit in the back of my pickup. But yeah, that's set up on there. Then I've sort of got that drawn best I can in CAD. So it needs to be 40mm deeper and 15mm wider. But then sort of added all these bits of tape on where it needs extra bits. So they're not very easy to measure off, but sort of got it best I can, I think. That hole must have been too big, so he's put this on to make the hole smaller. I think for the rules and regulations you're only allowed a certain amount of space around. Like the boost pipe must come out of there, I think. And then that must, like one side, exhaust comes out one side, and the inlet comes out the other side of the turbo. So yeah, I'll try and copy that. So yeah, that's ready to cut out. I've got some tabs on there to hold them bits in, so then when I roll it, them bits are still in, and then once I've rolled it and cut them bits out. The roll doesn't start till there anyway, so I'll probably get away with not having that bit in, but I just thought it'd be better if I left them in. So yeah, we'll get that bit cut out first and then roll it to shape. Then to cut these out, I'm going to change over onto some fine cut consumables, and then hopefully should do a real nice job with the little bolt holes. So they're 8.5mm holes. Right, so I've just laid that one over the top of that one. It looks like I'm miles off on there. So I'm going to have to cut another one of them out, which is not really a problem. But I'll get this bit rolled first, and then we'll worry about the end plates. There's also a ring like that to cut out. But if that end plate's wrong, then that'll also be wrong. So I can alter that before I cut it out. So I've got that marked on where the roll needs to start and stop. So we'll put that in the rollers now and give it a roll. Right, so I've taken out the rollers and I've got the end plate sat in there now, and it's not quite, I've maybe overdone it a little bit where the roll starts and stops. So I'll have to straighten that out a bit, which is not a problem. I can just put it over the bench and give it a few taps along there with a soft hammer. This side will be easy enough to do because there isn't really much. There's only sort of that bit there and that bit there, because these bits have to come out. This bit, with it only been thin, it will soon knock straight. And then once I've done that, I might have to give it a little bit more roll round the rest of it, tighten that roll up a little bit. And there's another ring like that to cut out that we drilled and tapped for the bolts to go through. So once I've got it something like rolled, then I'll cut these out, and then I can use that to pull it up if I need to get it to shape. Right, that fits a bit better now, so flatten them out a bit. It's just there, didn't quite fit that well, but I should be able to pull that up, I think. So what I'll maybe do now is I'll cut the ring out that goes around there, tack that in, and then I'll have to alter the other one at the other side. Like that end plate was slightly wrong, so I'll have to alter the ring as well. Yeah, so we're going to cut out this ring now, but I'm just going to centre mark, or I'm just going to centre pierce where the centre of the holes are rather than cut the holes out, and then they'll be to drill and tap and thread to M8. So yeah, you can see there, you zoom in on the holes, it's just going to quickly mark where the centre is with the plasma on each hole. So I've got that cut out now, and you can see all the holes line up as you'd expect. That's them all marked, but I've just read in the rule book now, this is like the rules for the turbo shield, and it says around every bolt hole must be a minimum of 1.5 times hole diameter of material, which when you measure on there, I just did that 30mm wide. I didn't do the holes in the middle, it just 30mm I just thought was a good number. But that doesn't give me 1.5 times the hole. So it'd be fine, but to follow the rules, I think I'll cut another one out with a bit more metal on this side, and then I know that it's going to be right then. So we'll get the second one out of there. It's only an off-cut bit of plate I'm using anyway, so it's no great expense. I should have just taken more notice to start with, really. Right, that's better. So yeah, we'll get that drilled and tapped now. Right, that's all them drilled, and then a little bit of a countersink put on them, just a chamfer. So yeah, I need to tap all these now. So a while ago, I was given this tapping head. Tony that does the trains up down at, I think it's Derwent Valley Railway, that's at Merton near York. Anyway, gave me this tapping head, and I haven't actually used it yet, so this will be the first time using it. I found a bolt that fit in there. I'm guessing it's supposed to have that in to stop it spinning, and then I've just put them on there just for that to go in between, so hopefully that should do that job. And then I've had to put it in the mill because my drill goes round too fast, so I've got it in the beaver mill. Yeah, see how it goes. I'm guessing I'm probably not supposed to hold on to it by hand, so I've got a stop set up there, stop it spinning round, and the tap will go through there, and yeah, hopefully it doesn't snap it off. So these tapping heads, when you're pressing down on it, it spins the right way, and then when you let the pressure off, then it spins the other way, and then brings the thread back out again. So that should make the job a lot easier. Right, so that's all M-tapped. That's the right thing, is that it makes the job a lot easier and faster. So I never actually knew that tapping heads existed until I was given that one. So yeah, thanks Tony for that. That's the trouble with never working in a proper machine shop before, is there's a lot of stuff out there that I didn't know existed or still don't know exists. I suppose it's just part of being self-taught, I suppose. Right, so we'll get this end welded into there now, or tacked in. So I'll probably clamp that down to the bench like it is now, and then fit that bit around it, see if it'll fit or whether it needs a bit more rolling yet. Yeah, go from there. Right, so got that one sat next to that one now, and we're not so far off. It's a bit wobbly, is this? It's not very square, but when you sit it like that and then measure from there to there, that's 140 mil, and then when I measure that one, that's 180 mil, which needs extra 40 mil on the bottom, so that's right. But then with this, I've taken that end plate off, so that tape is not there anymore. But I spoke to the customer because he wants it 15 mil longer, and I said, whereabouts does this 15 mil want to be? He says, I'll just follow the angle down of where the tape was, which is what I did when I drew this. But then when I compare the end plates, that one doesn't match up with that one, so it's a bit, I'm not quite sure. But then he's put this tape on here of where it sort of needs to be, so maybe I ought to go off the tape. But this is not very symmetrical. You can see how different the hole is. That hole has just been hacked out by the look of it. So it's not easy trying to replicate it. Then if I cut that out to match that tape, then it's going to alter this. Yes, you see, when I offer that, I drew around that the best I could. Not easy when you're trying to run up the side of a bit of tape, but I drew around that best I could. And when I offer it up to there, we're not far off. I don't think we'll be fussy to a couple of mil in some places. But then I've sort of followed that down at the same angle for an extra 15 mil, which obviously that's going to be lower because I'm following it down. So then when I put that end plate on, like that, just a little bit out of shape at this end, this side, but it'd be better when I get that other bit tacked in. But that bit there about meets up with that, follow that angle. So that bit's to chop out. Yeah, obviously that's to take out. So yeah, I can't. If I'm following that angle down, then it's right. I think I'll maybe stick to that. And then if he needs to chop any more out, he can do. So yeah, I'm just going to cut that one out like that. I've added a bit more on, so the hole's in the middle and there's enough metal on the inside of the hole. So yeah, I just need to get another bit of plate because I can't fit it in that one. I should have another off-cut bit of plate I can cut it out of. Right, that's them all drilled and tapped. So there's 18 holes there. It took me 6 minutes to do that. So that's made the job a lot easier and faster. It'd been a nightmare tapping all them by hand or in the drill. So yeah, we'll get that end tacked into there now. So as I've got it sat now, it doesn't quite fit. There's a bit of a gap in some places. So what I'm doing is I'm putting them blocks on there and then putting the pry bar in between, and then using the pry bar to push it back so it fits better. You see there's a gap. I use the pry bar and it squashes it up, and then tacking it, and then I work my way around. Right, that's all that tacked in as well now. So I ground a bit of a chamfer onto there to like fill with weld, but I wasn't thinking, and I chamfered around there as well, but yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. And the end plate's on, you won't see it. So I'll probably weld them on first before I chop these out. I might just hold it a bit more rigid. Well, I've just had a bit of a breakdown job come in, so I need to get this done. I might as well record doing this and put it in the video as well. Something a bit different. So it's a bit greasy, but it's come straight from the field, so I'll let them off for not cleaning it. But yeah, this is like a drawbar off. I'm not quite sure what it's off, some kind of cultivator or something. So that stands upright like that, and then there's a pivot in the middle, and then these like go on your link arms, your tractors, of your tractor, and that's what, and it pulls whatever it pulls along via this bit. Well, that's what it's supposed to look like, and that's what this side looks like. So it's just snapped the bar off, the shaft off. So I'll have to gouge that out, gouge around there, get rid of that, make a new one, and weld it in. Actually, rather than gouge that out, I might just cut it out with the gas, and then I don't have to mess about with both sides. I can cut through both at once. I'm not that good with the gas, but a good bit of practice. I actually did a not too bad a job of cutting that out. I surprised myself a bit there. So I just need to go down that side now until I find where like the separation line is. After I've taken a little bit more off there, and I just thought I'd best measure it. You can see at that side there, you can see the steel underneath, and that bit there is still part of the round bar that was welded in. So that needs a little bit more out, and I need to find that at this side without melting, without burning too much of the original away. I got most of it out. You can see in there, just that bit. Probably could get a bit more out with a gas, but I think I'll just do the last bit with a grinder. And then I could see the separation line. Some of it I've taken a little bit too much out. And then that end, I'll just clean that up. Real good with the gas, you could have probably taken it all out, but so I don't do much with the gas to be really good at it. I don't really need to when I've got that machine. I could have maybe done it with that, to be fair, but right, so that's that cut out and ground up. It's nice and square as that. So that's that bit done. So I need to make a new pin to go in here now. So I'm going to use this bit of 50mm. I'm not quite sure why I drilled a hole in the end of that. Must have been for a pin I made for something and then not used it. But that hole is too close to the end for what this needs to be anyway. So I'll hold that end in the lathe and then turn this end down. Yeah, we've got plenty there. Turn it down to 45mm to fit in there, and then down to 36mm for the Cat 3 ball. Right, I've got that machined, and then it's a bit rough on there. Could have done with a new cutting insert in really, but I've chamfered that down as well, so hopefully it'll do away with the shear point like it had on the old one where it snapped off. So I'm just going to put that in the mill now and then drill a hole through it for the pin to go through. I'll use the edge finder to find the middle and the end, and then I know the hole is going to be properly in the middle. Right, that's that drilled as well now, and then that ball fits on there and then lines up there with a pin. Try and not trap my fingers. There. So that's that bit done, so I just need to weld that into there now. So I've just had to grind a little bit off the corners there, but it fits in now because them corners not quite square. But yeah, we can tack that in now and get it welded in. So I don't really want to get grease all over my bench, so I think I'll just put it on one tine and clamp it down to the tine, and then whatever spacing it is under there, I'll put under this one, and then tack it in like that, I think. Right, that's tacked in at both sides now, so yeah, I'll give that a preheat and then we'll get it welded round. Right, there we are, so that is Welded in now. Should be plenty of weld. It's about the same as what that one is. It wasn't a weld, it was a weak point anyway, so that should be fine. Just have to wait for that to cool down. If it's cooled down enough before they come for it, I'll put some green paint on it, but I think they're wanting to come for it as soon as I've got it done so they can put it back together and carry on using it. So I have repaired one of these before, similar thing, is a bit different, but same type of thing. Just snapped off across there, and what I did is I made it a jaw. So I put a bit of plate up the back, and then a plate across the end, and then put a pin through rather than just a stub shaft like this that can snap off, which is a lot stronger. But this doesn't belong to the customer that I'm repairing it for, it belongs to someone else. So they said, you know, they just wanted it repairing as it was originally rather than going to the extent of time and money of making it into a jaw when it's not their machine. I have some pictures actually, I can include the pictures of what I did on the other one. You see what I mean then? Right, so we'll get back on with this turbo shield again now. So, yeah, it's time to start welding it up. Right, so, according to the rules, these have to be welded all the way around. So I think what I might do is I'm going to weld around here because I want this to sort of look flush. But if I weld it with a MIG, there's going to be too much weld on there and I'll have to grind it down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a go at welding down here with a TIG. I don't get much chance to have a go with a TIG. I just thought this might be a good little job to have a go with it. And then I'll maybe just I'll weld around the inside with the MIG. I can soon fly around there. I just thought it was a good bit of practice for me to have a go with a TIG. Right, that's half of that welded up. Not gone too bad. So I haven't done any TIG welding for a long time. So yeah, we'll do the rest of that now. Right, so I've got that welded round as well now, so we've got welded all the way around there. It has just opened it out a little bit though, which I thought it might do. When I sit that on there, when I line the bolt holes up, you can see that's out and that's out now. So because I've put heat around the outside of there, when it's shrunk, it's pulled it out a little bit. But when it's cooled down, I can either, maybe if I run some heat around there, let that cool down, it might pull it in again. Or if not, I might be able to squash it up somehow. I did think I should have maybe tacked something in there before I welded it, but I didn't do. But when I do the other side, I'll tack something in there first. and that might help, that might stop it a little bit. Looks like I've got a nice consistent amount of heat into it all the way around anyway. This side where I started is a bit touch and go, a bit more at that end. But yeah, I'll turn it over, do the same on the other side now. Right, that's that second side welded round as well. It was quite fun, I enjoyed doing that. Yeah, I tacked that, welded that loop that I altered. I welded that on to try and stop that from splaying out. And then I welded it in sections as well, rather than in 2 halves like I did on the other side. So that has, it's splayed out 5mm is that one. So I don't know whether to try and warm it up and shrink it back now, or whether I weld around there on the inside with a MIG first and then do it after I've done all the welding. I think I'll maybe tack some across there to stop it getting any worse, weld it round, and then we'll worry about that afterwards once we've got it all welded up. You can see this old one hasn't been welded on the inside, apart from where it's sort of burnt through. This one's been welded up with a MIG welder. If I smooth the welds off on that, and you can't see the welds, I don't want it to not pass the rules and regulations because it doesn't look like it's been welded all the way around. So I'd rather weld it around the inside as well, and then it's, you can see for definite that it's been welded up. Yeah, so that end plate does fit if you pull it in with a clamp, but obviously you don't want to be doing that every time you're taking it in bits, so it just needs closing up a bit. But I've got that end bolted on, and that should hold it now, so I'll weld up around the inside while it's got the end bolted on, I think. Can't remember if I said earlier or not, but these, in the rules and regulations, either have to be made out of 2mm steel, which this is, or 3mm aluminium. And then these end bits are 5mm that I've drilled and tapped. Right, so that is the whole thing welded up now, inside and outside. So I'll chop these bits off now and see what happens, see how much it springs. So I just warmed up, obviously not with the end plate on, but I warmed up a bit on the inside of there, and now when it's shrunk it's gone too far. So this is a side that I had a piece tacked across from the start anyway, but when I took it off it still pulled, so, and I welded it up in sections. So yeah, I'll just maybe heat a bit more of the outside up again, and hopefully that might pull that back out. Right, so that's this side sorted. So I haven't got enough bolts to go in every hole, but all the bolts I've got in now are all finger tight. And I haven't had to twist it or expand it by hand to get the bolts in. So I should do that side. So I'll do the same on the other side now. Right, so that's that side sorted as well now, so I've got all the bolts in. Yeah, maybe should have drilled and tapped them after I'd welded it up, but I didn't expect it to pull as much as it did do. Anyway, I've got it sorted now, it's not a problem. So I think now we can cut these bits out, cut them tabs off and take them bits out. Right, so that is that finished then. So I've got all them cutouts taken out, that one taken out. I've only got half the bolts in because I haven't got enough. Well, I've just robbed all the bolts out of this one. There's still some there I could have robbed. But yeah, that's that done. All the bolts line up now, but that was just a fiddly job trying to get them right, but yeah, it's all sorted. So yeah, it's 40mm deeper and 15mm longer than that one. The only thing that might be an issue is this, but if need be, you can cut a bit more out or add a bit more on. Yeah, I think that's turned out all right.